What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the final event of the 2021-2022 PGA Tour season. We'll go into a massive off season, and then we'll be right back to it, Sam. But hey, finally made it. Tour Championship. You ready?
Absolutely. And this is one of the funnest events of the year, if not the most convoluted event of the year from a starting standpoint. But
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yep.
Lots going on this week.
Absolutely. So obviously, if you have your favorite people you follow in terms of golf bets and whatnot, I mean, cards are pretty small this week. And if you see a massive card, I don't know what to tell you because there's not a whole lot that goes into it this week. Same format as the last 3-4 years, I believe. I don't know the exacts, but FedEx Cup standings, they finally rewarded the guys near the top. So Scotty Scheffler, who comes into the week at number 1, will start the event at 10 under par. Patrick Cantlay was in that position last year, went on to win it. Dustin Johnson was in this position the year before, also went on to win it. And then Justin Thomas in 2019 finished T3. So when you go into an event with a 2-stroke lead and you're already the quote unquote best player on tour this season, it's kind of hard to blow it, Sam.
Yeah, so you're pretty much telegraphing who your top pick is going to be this week. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the FedEx Cup Championship and them finally making the golfers rewarded, as you said, was really smart on their part, because just for too long, the whole thing with the FedEx points was always, what have you done for us, with these points? What's the point of us earning them if we're all just going to start at even?
At a level playing field, exactly.
So it's really nice to see that the tour made this change a few seasons ago, and I'm really excited to see what happens, because I don't think that Scheffler comes out with this win. But I'm really excited to see how Eastlake gives the best golfers in the world a true test this week.
Yeah, and to your point of I guess rewarding these players who have had good seasons, you can almost compare it to like the NFL. Like if the NFL playoffs was, say, 4 or 8 teams and nobody got a bye week and you're playing at a neutral location, you just play the entire season to go play at a neutral site and you don't have any advantage. You don't have a bye week. So that's kind of how this event used to run. If somebody won it, they could go from 7th place to 1st, even though they were kind of lagging behind all season long. But I mean, we've been talking about it since you joined the Fantasy Points team. Before that, I mean, Scotty Scheffler was on fire early, never really went away. I mean, his steam ran out in terms of winning events, but when you win 4 events in the span of 3-4 months, whatever it was, it's hard to keep repeating that. It's golf. Golf's a crazy sport. So yeah, I do like the format. I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of watching this week, but gets an advantage, and I think this year more than ever. But Eastlake, if you haven't already, go check out Hunter's event and course preview for the Tour Championship on fantasypoints.com. Par 70, just over 7,300 yards, average size greens, a lot of bunkers, shorter rough. It's fairly easy to score here. So I think the biggest takeaway for me, Sam, I want guys who are scoring, who are making birdies, who can climb this leaderboard, because that's the only way that you're really going to get into a position to get in the top 10, the top 5, because no cut event, 29 guys, it's not going to be easy.
Nope. And these are the best players in the world. So, the margin of error is so much lower when you have 30 guys who are all on top of their game. And, even the ones at the back who are starting at even, they came in, with a mission first to make the event in the first place. And now that they've made it to Eastlake, now they want to go out and really show what they can do. So yeah, definitely birdies are important. Strokes gained approach is always important at a course like this. Like you said, average size greens, so you don't need to be too precise, but you definitely need to be precise on your tee shots with fairways gained, these narrow zoysia fairways that are really quick, so the ball can just take crazy hops, get right into that ugly Bermuda rough. You have to worry about that. The greens are fast with Bermuda, so we're going to look at that. But a big thing that we're looking at here also is course history. Eastlake is a pretty easy course to score on, like you said. And we want golfers who are able to score on a course like this. So again, I took a look at that. I did see that 20% of the shots came from the 200 to 225 proximity bucket, and 18% of the shots came from 125 to 150 yards. So I looked at those as well.
Yeah. Pretty straightforward. So let's get into the picks.
Absolutely.
So for the purpose of this week's show, we're sticking to straight outrights. You can mess with the top 5s, top 20s. We'll talk about some each way options, but for the most part, you're not going to want to look at some of the numbers on the placement finishes, especially with 29 guys in the field. So as Sam alluded to, and I kind of hinted at already, I'm just going all in on Scotty Scheffler and letting the rest kind of run its course. Had the hot start, had a top 5 finish last week, solid all the way around last week at the BMW Championship, but it makes a bigger difference for me. So obviously I said Cantlay started 10 under and won last year. Dustin the year before did the same thing. For Scotty, Sam, it's important to me that Will Zalatoris dropped out because
yes, it is.
Because you have Cantlay chasing you. He's 2 back. Then the next guy is now 6 under. Xander is 4 back. So you're already starting like essentially it's Scheffler versus Cantlay. And then you throw in Xander's, Burns, Rory into the mix. Like it's hard for somebody to climb as far as we saw Kevin Na do it last year. He started at 2 under and ended up in solo 3rd place. So is it doable? Absolutely. But I'm just going to go Scheffler 225 and throw a couple darts.
Yeah, and I completely see where you would come from with that. Like you said, Scheffler has been by far the best player on tour this season. It really wasn't close. He'll be the runaway player of the year when they announce it soon. No doubt about that. But I went ahead and went with the man who has probably the most decorated resume at East Lake Country Club in the last 5 years. And that is none other than Xander Schauffele, who owns a 1st, 2 seconds, a 5th, and a 7th place finish here over the past 5 seasons. And he doesn't just do it on the course. He ranks out really well in my model on the metrics that I went with. He ranks 5th in strokes gained approach, 4th in bogeys avoided. He ranks well in both proximity buckets, ranking the top 10 and top 5 in both of those. And then he's top 10 in strokes gained putting on Bermuda, and he's 8th in fairways gained. So he pretty much ranks out highly everywhere. As you said, it is tough to take guys that are starting, a number of strokes behind the leader. Xander starts at 6, but it's not like we haven't seen guys who play really well come from behind. And again, I'm running with course history here. So, Xander at plus 650, it's moved up since Zalatoris dropped out. It was plus 800 when I hit it yesterday. I'm glad that I did now. So Xander at plus 650 gives me a nice, safe floor for the other 3 bets that I went to hit as well.
Yeah, I think there's really 2 approaches that you can take. You can go all in on Scheffler and throw some darts down the board like I did, or I love the approach that you took because that's another thing that crossed your mind, as it should everybody else. You're grabbing Schauffele and Burns, and I'll let you get into Burns here in a second, but Xander is starting at 6 under, Burns is starting at 5 under, and the spot Burns is in, 5 strokes back, that's where Rory started in 2019 when he won in this format.
And, it's important to note that, although Burns doesn't rate out too highly in my model, he rated out just inside the top 20 out of 30 guys. I thought that was notable. He gets dinged for some off the tee metrics, but where he's really elite are the 2 things that you have to be elite on to win at this course. And that's putting on Bermuda grass and strokes gained approach. One of the best iron or short iron and wedge players in the game, and one of the most clutch putters in the game. That's what led Sam Burns to have 3 wins this year. You obviously remember at the Chuck Schwab Challenge when he holed that 45-footer from off the green to beat Scotty on the first hole of the playoff. he can do it all. And, like you said, he's only starting 5 shots back. 22-1, I thought was a really big number. Again, it feels like I've said this every week. I've been on him the last couple weeks. He hasn't really showed it or showed the killer instinct to win, but I know it's there. And the best players in the world choose the biggest stages to come out and make their stands. I think Sam Burns comes out to East Lake and makes a stand this week.
And the biggest thing for me, Sam, he's starting at 5 under, like I said. So on his island, he's the only one starting at 5 under, which is 5 strokes back. That's behind only Xander, Scheffler, and Cantlay.
Exactly.
Rory and Rahm and Finau are all priced ahead of him as well. At this point, you got Finau at 22. It was, I think, a couple hours ago. Now Finau's at 20. So now we're looking at Burns as the 7th guy in, and he's starting with the 4th highest on the leaderboard. So in terms of just odds and matching up, like, you don't even really have to talk yourself into Sam Burns. We know who he is. We know what he's capable of, and he's starting with a leg up on a majority of the field.
Yeah, I think that's a clear misprice in the odds set by Vegas here. I think they're choosing some of the big names. I personally think Jon Rahm is the most overhyped player in this field. Given the fact that his odds are so much higher and that he's 2 shots behind. I mean, Rahm is plus 1,400 and he's at -3. Like, I don't see it. He hasn't played that well. The people just want to have Rahm win because it's good for the game, but he's clearly not in the mindset of winning right now. He just had a kid. He's probably focused on that among a ton of other things in his life. So I definitely see Rahm being mispriced.
Yeah, and he, at a level playing field in a normal event, would have won this last year. He was 14 under, shot rounds of 65 the first 2, and then 68 the next 2. Kevin Na was the only one. They technically would have went into a playoff if it was at a level playing field, but I don't like what I seen from Rahm last week in terms of approach. Everything else was on, but I think you're going to need your irons a lot more than normal, especially here at East Lake. So seeing him losing a couple strokes on approach last week, I just don't think I'm willing to pay that price. Why don't you get into Tony Finau here at 22-1 as well?
Yeah, again, Finau, this is a pretty similar play
Can't
for me
quit
to
him.
Zamber. Yeah, can't quit him. He ranked out first in my model again this week. He seems to do it just every single week at this point. Like, I'm not questioning it. He's clearly been on this game. The first round was clearly an aberration because he posted 3 great rounds after that +6 in the first round. I have no idea where that came from. He looked panicked, out of sorts. I don't know what it was. In any case, 2nd in strokes gained approach, 5th in strokes gained off the tee, 2nd in bogeys avoided, 2nd in strokes gained putting, 13th in fairways gained. A little bit below average in both the proximity buckets, but again, that's okay. Tony's at the top of his game right now. And again, he's getting a little bit of a discount. And I think that discount is just not warranted given how good he's been playing. And he's able to go on a run just as much as any of the top guys in this field. So again, Finau plus 2,200, even though he's 6 shots back, is just, it's an option for me.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And you're looking to hammer guys near the top. So like I said, I started with Scheffler going heavy at the top. Not a pretty number, but a strategy that I'm moving forward with. And then the 2 darts that I threw, Sam, I threw stats out the window. I threw course history out the window, recent form, everything. Just looked down the board, found 2 fantastic numbers on guys who have elite ceilings, and I truly believe that. Getting Colin Morikawa and Jordan Spieth at 80-1 is not something you see every day. That's for sure. Morikawa and Spieth are 80-1 on Bet Rivers as well, where they offer a top 4 each way. So that is the case more than them winning. Do I think one of these 2 can win it? Something crazy would have to happen. Well, one of the 2 would have to be absolutely lights out to win it. But getting that top 4 placement each way at Bet Rivers, you're getting both Jordan Spieth and Colin Morikawa at 16-1 for a top 4. I think that's doable. I think top 4 is extremely doable. Spieth is starting at 2 under. Morikawa is starting at 1 under. Looking at last year, there were Kevin Na was one of the guys who started at 2 under, who finished 3rd. And then Xander finished T5 starting at 2 under as well. So if you have a good week, you're going to push your way up there. 80 to 1 is by far the best number on the market for both of these guys. That's why I clicked both. I saw the number this morning and took that as well, because they're about 55 to 65 elsewhere. The best you're getting on Spieth is 66 at Caesars outside of the 80s. So obviously value. I wouldn't take it any less than 80, and I definitely would not play this without the each way. I think that's pretty cut and dry, plain and simple. We know what Morikawa can do with the irons. Spieth has been unbelievable off the tee. Still waiting on that ceiling putter week, but I'm all in on these two guys at the numbers, and it's really just a value spot.
Yep. I felt the same way with my last pick. This is more of a fun pick than anything.
I love it.
I was looking for something earlier, and Aaron Wise popped out at 8th in my model. I know he's starting at even par. I know he's starting 10 shots behind Scotty, but he's really come on strong the last couple months. Again, playing the best golf of his young career. 3rd in that proximity bucket from 200 plus, 7th in strokes gained approach. He's been a solid putter all year. I think if you can get it with the each way, again, I would. It's over there at plus 25,000 over on Bet Rivers.
Yep.
So I would take it there, with the same each way that you're taking on Spieth and Morikawa. If you really want to have any chance at it. But we've seen guys go into that range. We've seen guys make it from even back into the the top 8, top 7 range. So, if you want a real Hail Mary, Aaron Wise seems to be the guy out of that range as well.
Yeah, and to your point, bet the each way if you're betting it.
Yeah, of course.
The best anyone has finished in the last 3 years, starting at even par, was Billy Horschel, who was lights out last year. Shot 10 under, 65, 68, 67 he opened with. Then he was even par in the 4th and final round. But if he shoots, 1 under, he would have been right in that top 4 range there. So very doable. To have a good week. And I don't think there's anybody I trust more than Wise if you're going all the way down the board, to be honest. So the only other one that I was fairly considering was Sepp Straka. Gross name, but he's starting at 4 under.
I can't believe that. Like, I'm just not seriously considering Straka. I haven't been on him all year. I've had a bad taste in my mouth ever since he beat Lowry at the Honda Classic, and I was like I was a huge Lowry guy that week. Was at the Honda Classic, watched that Sepp Straka rip that win out from under me in the pouring rain. But I mean, he is plus 15,000.
Yeah.
Crazier things have happened, but again, I'm not strongly thinking about it. I mean, I'd rather take Scott Stallings at plus 13,000, and he's only 1 shot behind him there.
Yeah. To your point, Sam, I was going to say for Aaron Wise, top 5 finish, the best odds you're getting are Caesars 25 to 1. If you bet the each way on Bet Rivers, you lose a placement. So it goes from a top 5 to a top 4, but you double your number. It's 50 to 1.
That's not that bad.
That's value, and that's what we're chasing.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about value in this field. I saw a few values in the top 5s and top 10s, one of which I posted over at Fantasy Points PGA. Victor Hovland's top 10 plus 225. I really like that in the place where he finished top, T5 last year. I mean, some others like, do we expect Cam Smith to go out there and really play tough in what might be his last tournament on the PGA Tour? Then plus 280 for a top 5 isn't that terrible for him, given the fact that he's starting at 5 under, right? He's starting at 5.
I mean, I can't imagine not showing up. Like 30th place gets $500,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like and Will Zalatoris already cashed for that. So, other than that, for top fives, I saw. Honestly, I'm not really seeing a ton of value on this board anymore. I think some of the lines have definitely moved there, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, again, there's a reason we really only did outrights for this show. It was
Exactly.
tough to really find anything else on this board,
Yep.
but
Yep. So, like I said, do not overload your cards. If you want to sit out this week, feel free. We're going to have normal golf back, full fields back in a couple weeks. We don't
2
know
weeks,
how they're going
baby.
to look. Have golfs elsewhere, though. Corn Ferry, European Tour. It's in a good spot. This will still be fun to watch. A lot of money on the line.
$18 million up top.
Yes. Right in Scotty Scheffler's bank account.
And a 5-year exemption.
So,
but Scotty doesn't need that. Give it to
no.
someone. Give it to someone who actually deserves it.
Exactly. Well, thanks for joining us tonight on the Point Spread. Sam, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple weeks.